The whispers started weeks before the coronation, murmurs of a power struggle brewing beneath the veneer of royal tradition. It wasn't about Charles. Everyone knew he'd always be a placeholder, a transitional monarch between the steadfast Elizabeth and the modernizing William. The real battle was for the soul of the monarchy itself, and it was being waged between two women, Camilla Parker Bowles, the Queen Consort, and Catherine Middleton, the Princess of Wales. Camilla, for years, had endured public scorn, the ghost of Diana forever haunting her steps. Now finally, she had the crown, the title, the position she'd craved. The coronation was to be her moment, a chance to solidify her place in history, to finally be seen as more than just the other woman. But Catherine, with her effortless grace and unwavering popularity, threatened to steal her thunder. And Camilla, it seemed, was prepared to fight dirty. The first strike came in the form of a seemingly innocuous protocol adjustment. Michael and Carol Middleton, Catherine's parents, were to be relegated to the side entrance of Westminster Abbey, a passage usually reserved for servants and staff. The West Gate, the grand entrance befitting nobility, was off limits. It was a calculated insult, a public humiliation aimed at reminding the Middletons, and by extension Catherine, of their common origins. This wasn't just about snobbery, though. It was about control. Camilla wanted to send a message that despite Catherine's popularity, despite her growing influence, she was still an outsider, still subject to the Queen Consort's whims. The second blow was even more pointed, a decree that no royal woman would wear a tiara to the coronation. Camilla claimed it was for ceremonial consistency, but everyone knew the truth. It was a direct attack on Catherine, whose elegance and style often overshadowed Camilla's own. News of these slights reached Kensington Palace like a thunderclap. Catherine, usually so composed, was reportedly furious. Her loyalty to her family was unwavering, and she wouldn't stand for them being disrespected, especially not on such a momentous occasion. William, too, was incensed. He confronted his father, King Charles, demanding an explanation, but Charles, ever the peacemaker, offered only weak assurances. He was caught between his devotion to Camilla and his recognition of Catherine's value to the monarchy. William knew then that he couldn't rely on his father to intervene. This was a battle he and Catherine would have to fight themselves, and they wouldn't fight with angry words or public displays of defiance. They would fight with strategy, with grace, and with an unwavering understanding of the power of image. That night, Catherine visited the room where Princess Diana's jewelry was kept, a silent testament to a legacy of both glamour and tragedy. Standing before the lover's knot tiara, the one Diana wore so often, she made a vow. She didn't need a crown to be a queen. She would make them hand it to her. The next morning, Kensington Palace became a war room, albeit one disguised in the trappings of royal elegance. Catherine summoned her inner circle, fashion designers, stylists, image consultants. They weren't just there to create a look, they were there to craft a statement, to send a message that would resonate around the world. Catherine had a vision, a crown of white crystal, a laurel wreath inspired by the Greek goddesses, symbols of triumph, dignity, and endurance. No gold, no diamonds, just pure, radiant brilliance. She would also wear Princess Diana's pearl earrings, a subtle nod to her late mother-in-law's enduring influence, and Queen Elizabeth's sapphire necklace, a symbol of strength and legacy. Every detail was carefully considered, every element designed to tell a story, to project an image of quiet power and unwavering resolve. Catherine was preparing not just for a coronation, but for a coronation redefined. While Catherine orchestrated her sartorial rebellion, William was busy plotting his own form of defiance. He summoned James Harrow, the head of royal security, a man known for his unwavering loyalty and meticulous planning. William's request was simple, yet audacious. The Cambridge family would arrive 7 minutes late to the coronation. Harrow hesitated. Such a delay would disrupt the entire ceremony, forcing the king and queen consort to wait. It could be interpreted as a sign of disrespect, but William was adamant. He wanted them to wait. He wanted the world to see that the royal clock didn't tick solely to the rhythm of Charles and Camilla. It also answered to Catherine. The stage was set. The pawns were in place. Kensington Palace, normally a haven of domestic tranquility, had transformed into a strategic command center. William and Catherine moved with a synchronized precision, their actions subtle yet calculated, each move designed to undermine Camilla's carefully constructed narrative. The coronation dawned in a blaze of pomp and circumstance. London was awash in color, the streets teeming with well-wishers eager to witness history. Westminster Abbey, ancient and imposing, stood ready to host the spectacle. But within its hallowed walls, a different drama was unfolding, a silent battle for the hearts and minds of a nation. The royal procession, carrying Charles and Camilla, proceeded with flawless punctuality. Tradition dictated that they couldn't enter the Great Hall until William, the heir to the throne, had arrived. But minutes ticked by, agonizingly slow. 5 minutes. 7 minutes. 8. The Kensington convoy was nowhere to be seen. Outside, the crowd grew restless. Television commentators stammered, offering strained explanations. Inside the Abbey, King Charles fidgeted, his grip on the scepter tightening. "Always him," he muttered, his voice laced with irritation. "William never respects the order, never." But beneath the annoyance, there was a flicker of something else. Recognition. He knew his son. This wasn't mere tardiness, it was a calculated move. Beside him, Camilla's regal composure began to fray. Her smile remained fixed, but her hand, hidden within the folds of her gown, clenched the fabric so tightly it wrinkled. She sensed the shift in power, the subtle erosion of her carefully constructed dominance. "What's happening?" she hissed to an aide, her voice sharp. The man offered no response. He understood. This delay wasn't just a breach of protocol. It was a statement. Then, at precisely the 8th minute, a roar erupted from the crowd, shaking the very foundations of Westminster Abbey. The Kensington convoy had arrived. Cameras swiveled, the crowd surged forward, and then she emerged. Catherine, for a heartbeat, the world stood still. Her gown, a masterpiece of white crystalline light, draped around her like liquid moonlight. The laurel crown, shimmering with 1,000 crystals, radiated a pure ethereal brilliance. Diana's pearl earrings sparkled softly, and at her throat, Queen Elizabeth's sapphire necklace pulsed with regal blue. The cameras forgot the schedule, the coronation, even the crown itself. Every lens, every voice, every pair of eyes was drawn to her. The crowd erupted, chanting her name. "Princess Catherine! Princess Catherine!" The sound echoed through the streets, drowning out the hymns and ceremonial drums. Inside, Camilla stiffened. The spotlight she had so meticulously arranged had shifted completely and irrevocably. It belonged to Catherine. Without a single word, without a single act of defiance, Catherine had seized the day. Through grace alone. Moments later, William appeared, his face composed, his hand gently guiding George and Charlotte. The children, miniature versions of their parents, radiated the same quiet dignity. Little Charlotte, her own silver circlet mirroring her mother's, walked with a poise that belied her tender age, a living prophecy of the monarchy's future. As the family entered the great hall, a hush fell over the assembled elite. Nobles, diplomats, and world leaders all turned to watch them pass. Kate glided forward, her every movement a study in grace and power. She wasn't just a princess, she was a vision, mythic, untouchable, sovereign in spirit. It was undeniable this coronation belonged to her. The Great Hall, a testament to centuries of history, stilled as Kate approached. Each step she took across the marble floor resonated with an aura both ethereal and commanding, as if a goddess had descended among mortals. The white crystal laurel crown scattered brilliance across the hall, its countless facets glinting like starlight. Beside her walked Charlotte, her composure echoing her mother's quiet might. At the far end of the hall, Camilla stood adorned in gold, meant to announce her new majesty. But as Kate entered, all eyes were on the Princess of Wales. Camilla tried to maintain her serenity, but her eyes betrayed her. A fleeting tremor passed through her expression. She glanced from Kate to Charlotte, and for a single haunted instant, her face faltered. Charlotte's serene, piercing presence evoked the ghost of Diana, the woman whose shadow Camilla could never escape. Kate walked past her without acknowledgement, not a glance, not a nod. It wasn't rebellion, it was mastery. A silent message hung in the air. I bow to no one. Charlotte mirrored her mother perfectly, her gaze unwavering. It was as if the child herself were declaring, "We are the future and you are not a part of it." The hall fell into reverent silence. Even the courtiers, diplomats, and clergy paused, transfixed. The only sound was the rhythmic echo of their footsteps, a slow, measured beat of quiet domination. From a discreet corner, a photographer captured the scene. Camilla's mask slipping, her gaze flicking towards Charlotte with faint disbelief, almost fear. The image was electric. Within minutes, it flooded the digital world. A post from Royal Watch UK ignited social media. Who's the real queen in this picture? The photo showed Kate and Charlotte bathed in light, serene and untouchable, while Camilla lingered behind them in shadow. The tweet went viral within hours, shared millions of times. Online, the narrative shifted. Kate channels Diana's grace. Charlotte, the future monarch England deserves. Camilla, outshone at her own coronation. One user wrote, "Kate is the reincarnation of Diana and Elizabeth combined, a queen in everything but name." Another added, "Charlotte's only 8 and already carries the crown in her eyes." At the far end of the Great Hall, Camilla felt it. The murmurs, the cameras, the reverent glances all flowed toward Kate. The coronation she dreamed would seal her legacy now crowned another in spirit. Her hand tightened at her side, her smile fixed but empty. In that crushing silence, Camilla understood the truth she'd refused to see. She hadn't just lost attention, she'd lost the throne of perception, the war of hearts and eyes that truly defined power. The bowing ceremony, the spine of the coronation, unfolded beneath Westminster Abbey's vaulted grandeur. One by one, nobles, royals, and foreign dignitaries approached the dais where King Charles and Queen Camilla stood. Mars, adorned in St. Edward's crown and bearing the royal scepter, embodied calm sovereignty. Camilla, glittering in her golden robe, mimicked regality with practiced poise. Yet her eyes betrayed her, flicking again and again toward Kate. Then, Kate ascended the steps, her movement deliberate, her every gesture a study in grace and control. The white Alexander McQueen gown caught the light, the crystal laurel crown gleaming. Around her neck rested Queen Elizabeth's sapphire necklace, a relic of the crown's endurance reborn on her. The hall hushed as Kate paused before the king. With unhurried elegance, she bowed deeply, flawlessly. Her chestnut hair gleamed, her expression serene. It was an image of reverence and strength woven into one. Charles's face softened, his smile genuine, paternal. Then the air shifted. Kate turned to Queen Camilla. A silence descended. Kate stood perfectly straight, her chin lifted, her eyes steady, her face an impassive mask of grace. And then it happened. She did not bow. Instead, she gave the slightest nod, an acknowledgement so faint, so restrained it bordered on defiance. The gesture landed like a thunderclap wrapped in silk. Its message was unmistakable. "You humiliated my family. I will not kneel to you." It was more than protocol. It was justice framed in composure. A quiet vengeance for Michael and Carol Middleton. The spectators watched in captivated disbelief. Camilla smiled still, but the facade trembled. In living rooms across the world, that moment was replayed endlessly. Little Princess Charlotte then ascended the dais. Before her grandfather, she bowed with perfect decorum, but when she turned toward Camilla, the hall stilled once more. Charlotte straightened, her blue eyes unwavering, and offered only a small, dignified nod, an echo of her mother's stance. The crowd exhaled softly. In that small act, the child declared a legacy. "My mother taught me that self-respect outweighs obedience."